All right, so I got a quote there. It says, "What you love to do should get you to where you want to be." This is what gifts and goals are about. Figure out what you love to do, right? And doing that on a daily should get you to where you want to be. What you love to do and where you want to be should line up. And if it does not, you need to figure some shit out. So, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories real quick. I'm going to tell you a story about how I came to find what it is that I love to do. And I'm going to tell you another story about a historical figure, one of my favorite stories. I think I'll start with that one. So, if you figure out who this person is, please, hold your tongue. Wait till the end. For story's sake, we're going to call this person Charlie. All right. Charlie lived a long time ago in a time where going to school was only allowed if you were privileged. And Charlie was among these privileged people. In fact, his father was a doctor. His father was the doctor. But Charlie did not have an interest in education. Right? He had some passions, he had some things he loved to do, but he did not have an interest in education. What Charlie liked to do was collect shit in jars. That was his shit. He would spend most of his time wandering out in the wilderness, collecting shit in jars. Bugs, plants, sticks, anything he could find, he would collect it in a jar and study it. Right? He was often late to class because he was too busy collecting shit in jars. And when he was in class, he was not paying attention because, well, he was busy looking at all the shit that he had collected in jars. So as Charlie got older, it came time for him to pick a vocation in science. But Charlie was not interested in science, right? So his father pushed him into medical. He says, "Boy, you're going to do medicine. You can't pick something, you're going to do medicine. I'm a doctor, so you're going to be a doctor." Charlie said, "Okay, Dad, whatever you say." And he went to Cambridge Medical. Now, him being the fucking terrible student that he is, he flunked out his first semester, right? So Charlie's father pulled some strings, slipped some money here and there, and got him back in school. But of course, Charlie being a terrible fucking student, because he had an interest in collecting shit in jars, not science, he failed again. And at this time, Charlie's father, he had it up to here. Says, "You ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit, but you will not embarrass this family. So at the very least, you're gonna get a job at the church so you can make some money." So before Charlie could commit his life to servitude in the church, because Charlie was not even a religious person, one of his teachers had told him about the MS Beagle leaving port in need of a naturalist to collect specimens as they sailed around the world. Charlie about fell out his fucking seat like, "Whoa, sail around the world, right? Collect shit in jars?" He's like, "But I'm not a certified naturalist. How am I going to be doing that?" So the teacher informed him, his professor informed him, "Well, here's the thing, they're not going to pay you anything. They're just going to give you room and board. Would you still be interested in taking the position?" To which Charlie said, "Well, I'd fucking pay you to let me sail around the world and collect shit in jars. I forgot about that job my father wants me to start, right?" So he went to his dad to ask him to put that job on hold. He said, "Dad, will you be able to put that job on hold for me? I have a job on the MS Beagle." And his father asked him, "Doing what?" "Well, they're in need of a naturalist to collect specimens." And his father blew up, said, "Boy, what I tell you about collecting shit in jars? Ain't gonna get you nowhere in life. You will start that job at the church tomorrow, and it's final." So at this point, Charlie had a decision to make, to listen to what his father said, or despite his protest, say, fuck that, follow his passions, which had no money attached to it, to sail around the world and collect shit in jars. So, despite his father's protest, that fool chucked deuces and sailed around the world collecting shit in jars for about 4 years. And on his 4-year journey, as he collected different specimens from different parts of the world, he started to ask questions. He started to pose an idea, right? A very dangerous idea at this time. He began to think that perhaps life was not always like this. Perhaps it had been changing over time based on its environment, right? Which was a dangerous thing because this time was Victorian England, right? And in Victorian England, it's church everything. God said this is the way it was, and so it be law. And if you dare spoke out against the church, last person that did that was probably Galileo at this time, and history was not too kind to him. So, when he got back to England, he poured all of his energy into his new theory. This was his theory of evolution. This man was Charles fucking Darwin, who failed out of every school he ever went to, who was always told constantly, you will never be shit in life, who all he did was follow his passion, and he changed the fucking world. He changed the way we look at science and life, right? All because he followed his passions. So the story does not really stop there, because you have to imagine that Charles Darwin now had to push this theory of evolution with no accreditations as a scientist. So when he walked into the science office that pushes all these theories and publishes things, he began to share his theory, and the guy stopped and said, "Are you a certified biologist?" He said, "No." Then your theory has no merit. You're talking about life and you have no credentials as a biologist. Please leave my office. So then Charles studied one species, studied barnacles for 8 years just to try and receive the credentials as a biologist. Could you imagine the fucking monotony of studying barnacles for 8 years just to receive the credentials as a scientist you need, just to get someone to fucking hear you? Did that. Got his theory.
Andrew R.
Yeah.
Got his theory. And then he had to push his theory and finesse the rest of the scientific world. And as you can imagine, Charles Darwin spending most of his time as a isolated individual. He wasn't no smooth criminal. He wasn't talking nobody into shit, right? He had social anxiety. So then he had to study all these theories and all these different tactics and seduction and psychology to then finesse his theory. And he did it very well without getting ostracized, right? Got his theory published and changed the way we look at life. So often when we grow up, we have this passion to do something, right? We have this like innate gift and desire for this love of whatever it may be. And because of the way society is built, our parents, our peers, our teachers told us, that's fine. Make sure you have a backup plan, because you're going to have to grow up someday and make some money. Right? Fuck that. Fuck that backup plan. I understand we live in a society where we're going to have to get a survival job to pay the bills, but fuck the backup plan. Figure out what it is you love to do. I'm talking love it with a passion. And then commit all your energy and free time to figuring out how you can get paid to do that. Because when you love things, when you have passion for something, it'll open doors for you never thought possible. So I urge you all to figure out what it is you love and what you can do to get there, right? So now we're going to go with the share process. I'll share with you what it is I love to do, what I do daily to get there, and where I want to be, right? And how I discovered that fact, because it kind of came to me. It wasn't something that I, knew all along. I also followed that. I'm gonna just do this so I can make money until it hit me. So like I want to own my own facility, right? My own facility, much like this, right? I want to travel the world and speak and help people because I love talking to people. I love sharing things. I love giving advice. I love making other people's lives a little bit better than they were before. So I love to be a speaker, right? So that's what I do. I want to be a speaker. That's what I love. And I want to fucking help change, some big things in the world. That's where I want to be. Speaking is going to help me get there. That was not always my like goal and mission in life, right? I got my HVAC certifications on the yard, and my idea was, you know what? I'm just gonna find something I can do to make money, right? Take this quick little trade, make some money, and I did that. Got my HVAC certifications on the yard. Got an HVAC job right away, like 2 days after I got out. About 6 months in, I was promoted to a lead installer, and I was making about $2,000 to like $2,700 a week after taxes. And I loved it, right? I hated the fucking job because it was hot, and I worked fucking 15 hours a day, but I made money, right? So I was real happy after I cashed my paycheck. Right, so I had about and then Saturday I was cool because I was going places and doing things. Sunday was cool, going places and doing things. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday fucking sucked, right? So for a long time I made that sacrifice. I'm gonna fucking sacrifice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday so I can just have fun on Saturday and Sunday. Which for some reason to me made sense, but now saying it now, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And as I did this, right, I came up with the idea that, you know what, I don't need to work my program anymore. I don't need to go to meetings. I don't need to go to the gym. I don't need to pray and meditate in the morning. I'm fine. Making all this money, having all these things, why would I ever want to fucking do anything to jeopardize that, right? So about 2 weeks in, I stopped doing all that, and then shit goes sideways in life because that's the way life is. Shit will always go sideways no matter how much money you're making or how fucking sober you are or how well prepared you are. Shit will go sideways. And I couldn't handle it, right? So I went back to an old coping mechanism, which was a nice cold tall can. Figured, 6 months of fucking sobriety, I got this. I can have a fucking cold tall can. It was a shit day anyways. Cracked that tall can and realized that I just threw away 6 months of sobriety. Most sobriety I've ever had by choice in my life. Well, if I'm gonna start my sobriety date over, I might as well make this motherfucker count. And I had a needle in my arm by that night. And I almost violated parole. So my parole officer sent me to this place called MRC, Maricopa Reentry Center. And I would talk and share and be inspiring and all this, and the teacher there asked me if I ever thought about, becoming a speaker or working in recovery. I said, I don't know, like, what does that make? Like, well, peer support start off anywhere from like $13 to $15. Miss me with that shit. 13, no, you know how much money I make doing HVAC? No, thank you. So I made the decision to not go to peer support HVAC, right? So I'm in this 21-day program. It's day 20. I'm about to leave the next day. And that night before, drugs hit the pod. And everybody's getting high. About 6 people are getting high, all in the cell next to me, right? And I had this idea, should I go in there and say something and be inspiring and tell them to not use and all this? And I thought to myself, you know what? They're grown-ass fucking men. That's none of my business. I'm going home tomorrow. I'll go lay down. I'll wake up. I do my normal routine. Go to the bathroom. I'll go outside, do my little prayers and my meditations. I come walking back in, and everybody's coming from medical, like, Justin, you gotta go take a piss. Like, everyone got randomly drug tested. I'm like, oh, fuck. I just peed. So I was in there, and I physically could not pee. So there's me saying, like, I can't pee. And the 6 dudes that are getting high, like, yeah, I can't pee either. So it looked real fucking bad. And you fuck up in the program, like you're already on parole, you fuck up in the program, back to the yard you go. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to go back to the yard, it sucks. I talked to the teacher. The teacher, he did a whole 10 years. His story was very, very similar to my story, with using with his parents. So we had this connection, right? And I told him, hey, dude, I wasn't getting high. He's like, I know, Justin, I know you weren't getting high. I'm like, I don't want to go back to the yard. He's like, don't worry, I'm working something out. I got you. I'm like, okay, cool. And I thought that meant that I was just going to slide under the rug. And he called all the people's names that were getting high, and as I'm walking out, I'm like, glad I'm not on that fucking list. You too, Justin. Like, what the fuck? So he made us all sit in this classroom, and he informed us that we are all restarting the program. When I was supposed to leave that afternoon. I was like, what the fuck? And I was furious. I was so angry. I was so angry I had to put myself in the hole for a whole fucking 24 hours, because had I gone back to that pod with the level of anger I had, I was gonna fuck somebody up. In fact, the 6 days following that day, all anyone got out of me was a fuck you, don't talk to me. Justin, what happened? Fuck you, don't talk to me. And when it came time for me to share in class, I would just sit there, my arms crossed, all pissy. Justin, you guys, I don't got shit to say. That's all anyone got at me, just attitude, anger, rage, frustration, resentment, right? But I kept praying and meditating during the entire situation. I said, God, I know you got me here for a reason. And if you could share what that reason is, I'd appreciate it, because I'm fucking struggling. 6 days go by, and I get over it. It's fine. I'm sharing again and being all inspiring in class, and a few days before the program ends, drugs hit the pod again. And the same 6 people were getting high again. And I'm walking to my fucking cell, and I'm thinking to myself, should I go in there and say something? And I look down, I got the same book, same fucking jersey shorts on, wearing the same fucking sweater, the exact same fucking everything. I'm, oh my God, I'm caught in a fucking time loop. And it clicked. That's why I'm still here. That's why I restarted this program. That's why I've spent all the times being homeless. That's why I spent all the times being locked in a fucking concrete cage. That's why I spent times in attics. That's why I was born to the parents I was born to, because God favored the strong who shepherd the weak. And I fucking busted in the door. I'm like, what's up? What's going on here? They're like, oh shit. They're all putting the papers away and everything. And I was like, what the fuck? I opened my sweater and I'm like, I got a fucking badge on, homie? You think I'm here to fucking arrest you? No, I'm here to save your life. What's going on? And I had shared with them the similar stories they shared with me about their wives, about their kids, about their mothers. One homie was crying. I got teary-eyed. I cried a little bit. We flushed the fucking drugs down the fucking thing, and there it clicked. That's what I'm here for, right? And from that moment on, I made a commitment to speak and help people, right? And I started off at the bottom, gave up a very high-paying job to do what I love, worked myself back up to a pretty lucrative position, and I'm fucking happy. There is not an amount I can fucking share with you that is equal to the level of fucking joy that I experience every day, the level of happiness that I experience every day, right? And I know that if I continue to be on this path, I will get exactly to where I want to be, right? And to get to enjoy Monday through Friday, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, is something I've never experienced before. So I urge you, that's what we're gonna share right now. What is it you love to do? What is your hobby? What is your passion, right? And where do you wanna go in life? And do they line up, right? I said, man, I love you guys.